Hi, I'm Justine Louise. Welcome to my channel. So today I'm doing something a little bit different, and as you can see, I'm in my kitchen today, and I am going to show you how I make my smoothie. I drink this every single morning. I sometimes change it up a little, but for the most part, this is what I drink every single day, and it's what I call my Chunky Monkey Smoothie for keeping trim and glowing skin. Now, first thing I want to address, if you think that you've just stepped off a time machine and ended up on the Brady Bunch, my hair. I'm testing out a new T3 curling iron, and oh my God, obviously I hate it. It's bouffant. It's like something if I'd use hot roller. So anyway, I hate my hair right now, but I had to do it because I'm also filming another video reviewing this particular curling iron. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way. So my smoothie. I am not a nutritionist, I am not a dietitian, I am not a trainer, I'm none of those things. But I do have an extensive background in fitness, health, keeping in shape, that kind of thing. I've been going to the gym since I was 15 years old, and I loved it. I loved back in the 80s, that's when Step came in, the Reebok Step, and I just loved all the choreography. So I really like that dance and choreography kind of stuff. So I fell in love with the gym starting with that. I then went on and I became a CFL cheerleader. So I had to keep in shape for that and keep fit and eat healthy because I did that for 3 years, and it was a very extensive and rigorous schedule. And then I also continued on with my regular fitness and that sort of thing. And I was also involved in a lot of pageantry, and I was a swimsuit model and all that kind of stuff a long, long time ago. And then in my 40s, I decided as part of a bucket list, because it was something I'd always wanted to do, and that is to be a fitness competitor. Fitness competitor meaning, you know, the ladies that go on stage in sequin bikinis and strut their stuff and super lean. I did do that. And I got to the provincial level, and then I made it to the national level, and I decided it was just too much, and I wasn't prepared to put in the amount of work and effort to take it to the national level. So I made it as far as BCs, and if you're curious what I did the bikini, and I was in the masters, and then I changed to grandmasters because I got a little bit older. So I was in the bikini division. So I do know a little bit about health and fitness, and I did have a coach during that time as well as a trainer. And I learned so many tips from her, as well as tons of research on my own, trial and error. Nutrition is a huge hobby of mine, so I love researching. So anyway, I do have a little bit of knowledge is what I'm trying to say to you guys, and I thought I would pass it on to you of this delicious smoothie that I have every day. And I'm gonna go through each one of the ingredients that I put in it, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of background and reasoning of why I use them. And some of them don't have a reason, but anyway, let's get started. So the first thing I do is I have a Vitamix. You can use any blender. I just find the Vitamix really grinds down the ice, and it makes it almost like a milkshake. And I mean, you can use anything that you want, and if you don't really like it to be super icy, or you have a blender that doesn't really grind it down, then just limit the amount of ice. So I start off with my cashew. I buy the unsweetened vanilla, so it has a little bit of sweetness from the vanilla, but always get unsweetened. The ones that have sweetener in them, you're just drinking tons of calories. And I also switched to cashew. I used to use almond, and one of my girlfriends who is a national competitor, she said, try cashew, it's even creamier, and she's right, and it even has less calories than almond. So this is one I always reach for. Now, I don't measure. When I was prepping and competing, I measured and weighed every single thing I put in my mouth. I'm just done with that. So I just guess. I kind of put in roughly a cup. I will put all the ingredients down below, and I'll put the rough estimate measures. So that's my cashew. The next thing I put in is a protein powder. Now, Magnum is my ultimate favorite protein. It's a high quality protein. It doesn't have fake sugar in it. I'm highly, highly allergic to any fake sugars. Even if I have one stick of gum, I have a terrible, terrible stomachache. I think it comes from back in the 80s when they had all that fat-free and Splenda and aspartame. I think it did a lot of damage to my stomach, and now I'm highly allergic and highly sensitive. So this one does not have any of that. It doesn't have any of that powdery, gritty feel. I've had protein shakes like at restaurants and things, and I can feel like a sandy kind of grit. This is super smooth as silk. It's a lovely high quality protein, and it's very high protein. This one has 30 grams per scoop. I personally think that's too much for me. I usually try and aim for 20 grams. Even when I was at the height of my training, I never went over 20 grams per meal. So the scoop that's inside here, I don't quite fill. And also because I'm getting a little bit of protein from some of the other items in here, I don't need a full scoop. So I pretty much do half a scoop. And I'm using vanilla. They do chocolate, there's a salted caramel, a couple of other flavors, but I just stick with the vanilla because I'm gonna get the flavor from some of my other items I'm putting in here. The next thing I add is spinach. I like to eat something green at every single meal. I know it sucks, but you really need to get your greens. They're really, really good for you as antioxidants, and you can't even taste it. It does make the smoothie an ugly color, I will admit that. So I usually, when I drink my smoothie, I put it in a container that you can't see the color because it does look pretty off-putting. But spinach is so good for you, lots of iron. So I take a huge scoop, handful of that. The next thing I put in is hemp hearts. I don't know if any of you have tried these before. They're just like little tiny grains. They're little kind of nuts. And I just do like about 3/4 of a scoop of these because they are quite high in protein and fat in your omega. So that's why I want to get a little bit of fat in here. So I just sprinkle those in. Just gives a nice little bit of nutty flavor. These are also delicious on top of pancakes, on top of fruit, cereal, anything over your yogurt. Just gives a nice little bit of crunch. Of course, they get demolished in here, but these are really tasty. I then put in just a pinch of cinnamon. It's not, you can't really taste it in here because all the other flavors kind of take over. But cinnamon is really good for regulating blood sugars. So I always put a little bit of that in. I do have a bit of hypoglycemia, and my blood sugars drop very easily. So I like to keep on top of that. The next thing I put in is Greek yogurt, but I always look for the zero fat one. I don't know which one this is. And always get plain. I know there's that tasty vanilla one out there, but it does have tons of sugar in it, and no fruit bottom ones. Those, my husband used to eat them, and we were kind of watching his sugar intake, and I looked at it, and it actually had the same amount of sugar as a bowl of ice cream. So stay away from fruit bottoms. If you like yogurt, put in your own fruit. So anyway, all I do is I just take a scooper of this, because this also will up my protein as well. The Greek yogurt has a lot of protein. So I just do like a heaping tablespoon. And then I put in my PB2. This is a dry peanut powder. I know that sounds incredibly strange. When I was prepping, well, I actually never ate this during prep, but my off season, I still had to watch every single thing that I ate, and I measured and counted and all that kind of stuff. So you still have to be just as careful off season as on. And I used to enjoy using this because I used to regulate all of my fats. This is peanut butter with fat taken out. So it's just a dry powder, and you can put it in anything and it will give you a nice peanut buttery flavor. I know when I was craving fats, you crave peanut butter a lot. I love peanut butter, and I do eat full fat peanut butter on a regular basis. But just for this, I just want the flavor of the peanut butter because I am putting some other fats in here. So I put a heaping spoon of that because I love peanut butter. Another thing I just want to quickly mention, I have all these little scoops. If ever you get scoops like from protein powder or things like that, I always hang on to them. I actually have a drawer full of them, drives my husband crazy, but they're just so handy to put inside containers so that you always have a scoop, you don't have to dirty a spoon every time. The next thing I put in is cacao powder, not cocoa, but cacao. I believe this is really high in iron. It has great flavor. I believe it's an antioxidant. I believe cacao is a superfood. So I put that in here as my chocolatey flavor. I have used chocolate protein powders, but I just figured I'd rather get the health benefits from cacao and put that in here instead. And I just bought this at Winners, Marshall's, that kind of place, or any grocery store. So I put a nice big scoop of that in here. I also put in 1 date. I really don't need it, but it does add a nice little bit of sweetness and a bit of fiber as well. So I put that in there. I also put a dash of table salt, not sea salt. I use the table salt for the iodine because I've read, I don't know if this is a fact, but I have read that this helps with thyroid health. A lot of women, I think, have thyroid issues, especially as they get into their 40s. So I always just add a little bit of that because I do manually control my salt intake because I eat clean and I prepare everything fresh. I don't eat many processed foods, so I have to manually add my salt because a lot of processed foods have a lot of salt in them. So anyway, just do a dash of that. The next thing I put in is gelatin. Now, the reason why I have this is I used to be on the paleo diet. I just wanted to try it out, and they were really high on protein, and they used to talk a lot about gelatin, and they'd make gelatin gummies and all kinds of things like that. Well, I didn't really enjoy those, but I do still have this kicking around. So I just add a little bit of this. It does have collagen in it, which is great for skin health, and I just don't see any harm. So I just put in I would say that was about a tablespoon. The next thing I put in is veggie greens. There's tons of these on the market. This one in particular, I like this brand, Progressive. They use very, very high quality ingredients. I know they've seen ones out in the market called Greens Plus and all that kind of stuff. I haven't used them. I do really enjoy this one. It has all your greens and then other vitamins and a lot of the seaweed kind of ones, which I don't enjoy consuming. So if they're all mixed in here, I would much prefer it. Now this one is coconut pineapple. It literally tastes like a pina colada. It is amazing. So I used to drink this a lot during my off season because it's a nice tasty drink, but I do get terrible stomach aches from it. I have a bit of IBS. Again, I think it's attributed back to the 80s when I had all that diet stuff. So I have a hard time processing high fibrous foods. So I don't really take this as a drink anymore. I just find it too much for my system, but I do want to get the nutrients. So I just use a teeny tiny splash of this, like not even a teaspoon. And that way I just get some of the health benefits from it, and it does have a little bit of sweetness to it, and I really enjoy it. It's just, this one is amazing. They have a few other flavors. I think there's a lemon lime and a fruit one, but the coconut pineapple honestly tastes like pina colada if you like that kind of taste. I always put in a little bit of rolled oats just to give it a little bit more bulk and a little bit of fiber. And I'm a huge fan of oats. They're a great clean carbohydrate, and I really enjoy them. So and it gives a little bit of grit to my shake. So I would say that's not even a tablespoon. So I just pop those in. And then chia seeds. Now, I actually don't even really have a reason why I put these in. They're dubbed a superfood. They're high in omegas, and apparently they kind of gel and kind of stick in your intestines and kind of clear you out without going into too much detail. So I always make sure I put a scoop of these in there. Actually half a scoop, so I would say that was about 2 teaspoons. And last but not least, something my mom told me is when you're using a Vitamix, put all your icy and hard things on top so that it can get through the bottom and smooth that out first and then go through the hard crunchy stuff. So here is my frozen banana, half of one. I think a full banana is too many carbs, so I think half is perfect and it gives a nice bit of sweetness. And I love banana, especially paired with chocolate and peanut butter. And last but not least, this is about a cup of ice. I like my smoothie to be really, really thick, like a milkshake. So that's all my ingredients. So I'm gonna quickly whiz this around off camera because you guys don't wanna listen to that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're all mixed up and it makes quite a bit. I'm just using this fancy glass just for the video, but like I said, I normally put this in a opaque cup because, as promised, it's not an appetizing color by any stretch, but it is delicious. It's literally a milkshake. I love it. It's just the perfect amount of sweetness. It's my favorite flavors, chocolate, peanut butter, and banana, and I love it. And it keeps me full most of the morning. I usually have to have a bit of a snack about 3 hours later. If your stomach is growling, that's a good thing. It means your metabolism is going. So keep that in mind, and I hope you enjoy the smoothie. Thank you so much for joining me today, and if you like the video, please click like, and if you want to see more videos about health, fitness, lifestyle, targeting over 40, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you stay up to date with all my latest videos. Thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.